So let's pause together. Let's take a really deep breath in. And a long, lengthened sigh out. And see if it's possible to kind of incorporate this into the midst of our days. Just stopping, reflecting, going with the turn of the season. The energy draw back into yourself, to your body, to nurture, to reflect. And to see what's possible to let go of, to uproot, what's lain hidden in the depths that wants to emerge with an intimate engagement, and to really allow self-inquiry to awaken the unconscious that's been holding us back. The real theme that we've been bringing into awareness that seems to be emerging now for transformation on a global collective level and on a personal level is these themes of grief, loneliness and isolation. And so we're going to focus our next online retreat on this topic and to work with highlighting the areas that you can really awaken the emotional intelligence and bring it in close, become so intimate with the pain that has been sort of ignored or in ignorance or in avoidance, and in bringing it so close we can really transmute it to our potential, our natural potential of joy, resting in being in contentment within ourselves and able to live here fully present in the moment. Because the energies of grief and loneliness are very much a returning to the past, are going into an abstraction from the present moment, and to denying the fullness of now, and to hanker on the past, whether that's within specific events that were traumatic or within relationship dynamics, within experiences that happen. But grief is very much tied to holding on, and there's a very physical, energetic component to it as well, which impacts our heart, which impacts our lungs, our immune system, our ability to really open to life, to say yes to life, to be able to love and to be able to let go, to offer compassion and to feel empathy, and to really awaken those natural qualities of human being, to be able to love unconditionally. Because of course grief has such a holding of pain that it's frightened to open to the present moment, it's frightened to open to intimacy, it's like it can't move on. And the body, like areas like the heart, the lungs, the gallbladder, really get impacted by this, and it does degenerate us, and it affects us by different illnesses and discomforts and disease. And so we want to look at a really thorough course of treatment that deals with all the areas of our body, mind, energetic holding around the impacts of these issues, and to not make them wrong, or but to make them natural. This is like the human condition when we're really identified to a separate sense of I. And if we don't meet this, then a lot of our system remains in denial and it backfires. So on one level, I'd love not to be offering this kind of work, I'd love to jump to the joy and the bliss, but this shadow work is obviously, it's necessary, and these times are really calling for this because we're in a global retreat, as it were. It's a time to really reflect and stop and come into this sacred pause, and that's what we're hoping to facilitate in this next retreat, is to cultivate this sacred pause, to deeply listen within and to each other and to the bodies, and to nurturing, eliciting divinity in our true essence, because things like grief, loneliness and isolation are a holding on, a protection of the egoic identity. They feel life as threatening, as other, as if it's you're going to lose and everything's going to come into devastation. They have very strong belief system components to that. They have very strong mind fixations and emotional habits around those issues. So it looks like it becomes really important in a human's evolutionary journey, if we're in an awakening journey, if we're coming into full conscious recognition, that these kind of patterns are relinquished, but they have to be met. And at some point we just want to come out of avoidance, and we might be experiencing other patterns on the top, so we don't know that there's grief and loneliness and isolation. Things like, for example, isolation is, it's a coping mechanism, and perhaps there might be more patterns around sort of addiction and avoidances, so that we don't have to meet these deeper emotions like grief. So if we go to the heart of those patterns that are really beneath the surface, that we're going directly to them, then a lot of other things that are tied in may start to transmute and clear. That's what we found working with people over the years with these sort of working with karmic issues and with psychotherapy and vortex healing. So we're going to be incorporating this in our next set of group healings in this retreat, and we're going to be offering yoga specifically designed for these themes, and unhooking from them, and the collective unconscious unhooking as well from these. And we're also going to be offering yoga nidra, things that are very nurturing, restorative practices to heal us of these wounds and these very deep primal wounding, so that the system can open to life and optimal health and well-being, and which is so important obviously at these times as well. And it looks like, another way to really help receive the healings is also to listen to a guided meditation, and to journey into the receptivity of the healing by having this guidance to support you, which you can listen to in any time that you wish. But also it's quite helpful to listen to as you're receiving the healings each night, which is 2 hours every night on a Friday, Saturday and a Sunday. And they'll be going over 2 weekends, but there'll be lots of practices and feedback sessions and options to communicate directly with us around what's coming up for you. Because you might notice that because, we're really trusting in the divine bridging of this, that you will uniquely be worked on, you will uniquely find what's relevant for you, and the divine will be bridging transformation through your specific holding around this, and this is a general hooded topic, but you'll find that it really works to work through your own karmic, genetic, ancestral conditioning and imprints around this, so that you can clear some of the very deep backlog trauma in the system around this, which really helps us to move on to opening and welcoming life in and regenerating and restoring on every level. There's lots of different diseases and illnesses that are, we've seen as themes with grief, for example. There's a lot of cancer is holding grief at the karmic root cause for many people. So this is such a high disease on the planet, you could say, and we have to look at going to the root of any of this, not just trying to sort of zap the symptoms, and but really kind of look at what creates those symptoms. And it really starts here and now with our thoughts, our thought patternings, and that creates the emotional physiological response. So we really need self-empowering tools like self-inquiry, like this Atma-vichara, like practices of meditation, specific practices of yoga and of conscious movement and breath work, to be able to embody the transformation, the change that's happening, which is, awakening movements that take place and that have been reported to take place through these healing retreats, but also very deep clear outs. It's quite a deep emotional and energetic detox. And that's just about, going with it. And these times right now, we're moving into autumn, and we'll be doing these healings over Samhain. So this is obviously a time to go into our darkest dark, into our blind spots, and to die and be reborn into the phoenix rising and the fire that comes through into November. And to go with, this build up here now, this full moon of Aries as well. It's just bringing that fire light of truth into illumination. And so to work with this, we need to really kind of allow the purging transformation that is happening on the planet. There's a mass global awakening taking place, and so we're aligning to that on an individual microcosmic level to recognize this bigger transformation. And my feeling is that because you'll be able to stay really alive with the process taking place in you, we can feed back together what's happening, and we're going to be tracking into what's going on individually within you, that you'll find that it really does shape the expression of your life, your personality, your relationships, and support the sort of the lightening of the load and the opening to the light, into helping us really ground through into our humanness. So you'll find lots of different transformations through this, and changes physically and energetically and emotionally. Then there's been a lot of really good feedback around this. We've been running this for 20 or so years, but they're in constant evolution because of what's taking place on mass and individually. So if you've got any questions about it, we'd love to just be in contact with you, so please let us know. What I'd like to do now is just offer a short meditation just to allow you to kind of bridge into this self-healing practice and to align to that, the deeper healing process that's taking place. So if you'd like to make your bodies comfortable and just lying down or with your knees bent or pillow underneath your knees, and or just sitting up but supported like in an armchair or something, so you're comfortable but the spine is not compressing in any way, and so you're able to freely breathe. There's no sort of tightening like you have a belt on. Perhaps take that off, loosen the kind of clothes of the body or anything that's sort of on you. So if you can sort of put devices away from your body, things like this, and just begin to notice the breathing. So let's just have that intention of Sankalpa together now to relax into the breath as it is, and to allow and coax that breath into more of a gentle dropping into the form, into the lower belly, so that you can feel the abdomen rise and fall. You can feel the rise and fall of the diaphragm, the opening of the chest, and perhaps you're noticing even just your old breathing patterns. It might be shallow, clavicular, held at the chest. You might feel restriction in your breathing, which might be a lot to do with the impact around, the heartache around loneliness and grief, and the frozen fear around isolation. So really becoming aware of the heart center just as you breathe in, just naturally without any effort, just becoming aware of the possibility to deepen the breath a little bit more, perhaps inviting in but without any force. So we're dropping the sense of forcing or techniques, but just naturally relaxing into the belly, and at the same time being able to really feel into the heart center. So I'd like to invite you to place your right hand on your lower abdomen, just below the navel, and your left hand on the heart. And then just attuning to this breathing. And even if you find it's restricted or it's shallow, just not making a thing about that, not trying to push it or change it in any way. Seeing if you can really just come into an open allowance. Breathing in, breathing out. Just observing if it feels a bit tight or a bit restricted or perhaps a little bit shallow. Just seeing how that is without trying to change it, without judgment. And the commentary of the mind will just kind of dribble on as it does. But you don't need to interfere with the mind, just let it do its thing. It's just a program. And you don't even need to feel like you have to think those thoughts, you need to work them out and you have to follow them or go down the rabbit tunnel. Just relax through those thoughts. It's like you relax out of them and you just sort of fall into the present moment now, being this that's aware. And this that's aware is naturally relaxed, is openness itself, it is surrender. It's not like you have to do something to get somewhere, to create an artificial state or to control to get to a place of silence or stillness. It's not about a state or an experience. We're always looking through our five senses to gain that sense of who we think we are or what reality is. So just for now, I'd like to invite you to just allow everything to be as it is. Just feeling there in your gut brain, in your feeling center, in the openness of the heart and the intimacy of this heart center. And feeling the rise and fall of the body as you inhale, as you exhale. And we're going to gently bring in a very simple ancient Sanskrit mantra, which is simply Ma on the in-breath, Om on the out-breath. Ma on the in-breath, Om on the out breath. So you don't need to do this aloud, it's just japa mantra. Inhale Ma. Feel the fullness of the breath enter every cell, awakening every cell. And the out breath, letting go. The mouth can be sealed, you're breathing in and out through the nose, but you hear, feel, sense the gut brain, svadhisthana, sacral chakra area, and the heart, anahata. And you can feel and sense the inhale breath, the exhale breath, and the vibration, the subtle vibration of Nada Yoga, the sound healing of Ma on the in-breath, like the ocean drawing back, and Om crashing at the shore. Ma meaning love, Om meaning light. Breathing in love, breathing in light. Breathing out light, and the out breath, breathing in love. Inhale love, exhale light. And if you like to close your eyes with this, so you really can breathe in that feeling sense, the quality of this pure love that is your essence, that is there, innate within everything, is the source of everything. Not coming from a somewhere, but you can feel it through the portal, the bindu, if you like, the center of the heart. You can really feel the sense of absorbing the naturalness of what you are through into the form. On the inhale Ma, on the exhale illuminating, radiate the light that you are all the way out to all of creation, to all of life. Inhale Ma, exhale Om. And just try this, continue in your own time, and really just enter this sacred pause, this stillness, this turning of the tide, this autumn embrace. All of energy, all of life, all of nature is drawing back into its roots from the extraneous places of the yang of summer into the yin. And going with this now in yourself, enter this within. Dive deep back. Let the mantra be the guide, the ally to lead you in until you just let it go and rest as this silent embrace. Doesn't matter what noise is going on, what sensations are arising, what thoughts are passing through. Let it be, let it be. Allow it in through the front door and out through the back door. Ma on the in-breath, Om on the out-breath. Ma on the in-breath, Om on the out-breath. Om. Asatoma Satgamaya, Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityoma Amritam Gamaya, Om Shanti Shanti Shanti, Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha, Hari Om. Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. When you finish with this meditation, as long as it takes for you, I'd like to invite you to close with Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu, which is a chant meaning may all beings be free from suffering, may all beings be happy. Om Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Om Shan